rice dries wet phones. When a phone drops in water, the immediate reaction for millions of people is to bury it in a bowl of dry rice. It seems logical because rice absorbs water, so people assume it will pull the wetness out of the phone. But in reality, this popular trick doesn't work, and it often finishes off a phone that could have been saved. Uncooked rice is simply too weak to suck moisture out from deep inside a sealed smartphone. When you trap a wet phone inside a container of rice, two major problems occur. First, it actually traps the moisture inside. The rice blocks fresh air from reaching the device, and leaving wet electronics sitting in a closed space gives that trapped water time to rust and destroy the sensitive internal components. Second, it introduces harmful dust. Tiny specks of rice dust and starch creep straight into your charging port and speakers. When that dust mixes with the liquid inside, it turns into a thick paste that hardens and damages the parts permanently. The real key to saving a water-damaged phone comes down to basic airflow and turning off the power. Turning the phone off immediately stops electrical short circuits. From there, setting it in an open area with strong airflow, like next to an open window or in front of a cool fan, evaporates the trapped water far faster and safer than a bowl of rice ever will. More megapixels means better photos. When people shop for a smartphone, the first spec they check is the camera's megapixels. We've been conditioned to believe that a 50-megapixel camera will automatically crush a 12-megapixel camera. But in reality, higher megapixels do not equal better picture quality. A megapixel simply measures image size, or how many tiny dots make up a photo. Higher megapixels let you crop in close or print huge posters without losing detail. However, overall image quality, how clear, vibrant, and well-lit a photo looks, depends almost entirely on camera sensor size, lens quality, and software processing. Think of a camera sensor as a tray of cups catching rain, where light is the water. A larger sensor gathers more light, which is crucial for clear, crisp photos. If you cram 50 or 100 megapixels onto a tiny smartphone sensor, each pixel becomes microscopic. These tiny pixels catch very little light, creating noisy, grainy photos in dark environments. This is why many flagship phones default to taking 12-megapixel shots, using a process called pixel binning, combining multiple small pixels into one large virtual pixel to absorb more light. A smartphone with a bigger physical sensor, bright lenses, and smart image processing will easily beat a camera that relies purely on a high megapixel count. Full signal bars guarantee fast internet. When your phone shows full signal bars, it feels like a guarantee that your internet will fly. But we've all experienced that frustrating moment where we have 4 or 5 bars, yet a simple web page refuses to load. That's because signal bars don't actually measure your internet speed. Signal bars only show one thing: how strongly your phone is communicating with the nearest cell tower. They measure connection strength, not capacity or speed. Think of a cell tower like a highway, and your phone's signal is the ramp leading onto it. Full bars mean the ramp is wide open and clear, but if the highway itself is jammed with thousands of cars, nobody is moving fast. This happens constantly at crowded places like stadiums, concerts, or busy city centers. You might be standing right next to a cell tower with a maximum perfect signal, but if thousands of other phones are connected to that same tower at the same time, the available internet bandwidth gets chopped into tiny pieces. On top of that, your signal strength can be great while the tower's actual connection to the broader internet is slow or damaged. Signal bars tell you that your phone can hear the tower clearly, but they say nothing about how fast that tower can send and receive data. Incognito mode makes browsing completely private. When you open a private or incognito window on your phone, the dark screen and disguise icon make it feel like you've gone completely invisible online. Most people assume that incognito mode hides everything they do from the rest of the world. But in reality, private browsing isn't a stealth cloak. It's just a clean slate for your local device. All incognito mode does is prevent your phone from saving your browsing history, cookies, and search forms on that specific device once you close the tab. It stops someone else who picks up your phone from seeing what you were just looking at. That's it. What it doesn't do is hide your online activity from the outside world. The websites you visit still log your IP address, track your behavior, and can even identify your account if you sign in. Your internet service provider, your mobile network, and the administrator of your school or workplace Wi-Fi network can still see every single site you visit while in private mode. If you want real online privacy from outside tracking, you need tools like a VPN or privacy-focused networks. Incognito mode simply keeps your activity secret from people sharing your phone. It doesn't make you invisible to the internet. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button to support the content and channel. Closing background apps saves battery and speed. Almost everyone has the habit of constantly clearing out open apps from their recent app screen, believing it saves battery power and keeps their phone running fast. But in reality, force closing background apps does the exact opposite. It drains your battery faster and slows your device down. Modern smartphone operating systems are designed to manage memory automatically. When you leave an app, the system doesn't keep it running at full speed. Instead, it freezes the app in place, saving its exact state into your phone's RAM. In this frozen state, The app uses virtually zero battery power and no CPU processing power. When you constantly swipe those apps away, you completely remove them from the phone's memory. The next time you open that app, your phone's processor has to work twice as hard to reload all its code, graphics, and data from scratch. That extra CPU strain consumes a burst of energy, eating up more battery than if you had simply left the app frozen in the background. The only time you should ever manually close an app is if it's completely frozen or acting up. For everyday use, letting your phone handle its own background apps keeps your battery healthy and your phone running smoothly. More RAM instantly makes your phone faster. When comparing smartphones, it's easy to look at a high RAM number, like 12 or 16 gigabytes, and assume that extra memory automatically makes your phone run faster. But in reality, adding more RAM doesn't speed up your processor. It simply lets your phone hold more tasks at once. Think of your phone's processor as a desk worker, and RAM as the surface area of the desk. A larger desk allows you to keep more papers, books, and apps laid out at the same time without having to put anything away. But having a bigger desk doesn't mean the person sitting at it reads or writes any faster. If your phone only has 4 gigabytes of RAM and you try to keep 10 heavy apps open, the desk gets cluttered, and the phone has to constantly close and reopen things, which slows you down. Adding more RAM fixes that bottleneck by giving your phone room to keep those apps ready in the background. However, once you have enough RAM to comfortably run your daily apps, adding extra gigabytes won't make a single app load quicker or run smoother. Overall performance depends on your central processor, graphics chip, and storage speed. Third-party chargers are always dangerous. Many people believe that using any charger that didn't come in the original box will ruin their phone or even catch fire. While cheap, unbranded knockoffs can definitely be hazardous, the idea that all third-party chargers are dangerous is a total myth. The real factor isn't whether a charger has Apple or Samsung written on it, it's safety certification and build quality. Reputable third-party brands build their accessories with built-in microchips that communicate directly with your phone. These chips regulate power flow, preventing overcharging, voltage spikes, and overheating. Modern smartphones also act as their own guardrails. Your phone only pulls the maximum amount of wattage it can safely handle, regardless of how powerful the charger is. Where the real danger lies is with ultra-cheap, uncertified chargers, usually bought from sketchy bargain bins. These cut corners on basic safety components, like insulation and circuit protection, which can lead to short circuits, damaged battery health, or fire hazards. As long as you buy from established, reputable accessory brands that feature official safety certifications, like MFI for Apple or USB, IF compliance, a third-party charger is just as safe, fast, and reliable as the one that came from your phone's manufacturer. Everyday phone radiation can cause brain cancer. Holding a phone directly against your head every day naturally makes people worry about radiation. We've been told for decades that wireless devices emit invisible waves that could alter our cells or cause brain tumors. But in reality, everyday smartphone radiation does not have the physical capability to damage human DNA. The word radiation sounds terrifying, but physics splits radiation into two very different categories: ionizing and non-ionizing. Ionizing radiation like X-rays, gamma rays, and ultraviolet light from the sun carries high amounts of energy that can strip electrons from atoms, damage DNA, and lead to serious health issues. Smartphones, on the other hand, emit non-ionizing radiofrequency radiation. This is the exact same low-energy wave technology used by FM radios, Wi-Fi routers, and baby monitors. Non-ionizing radiation simply lacks the energy required to break chemical bonds or mutate cells. The only known biological effect of smartphone radio waves is a very slight thermal heating effect, literally just warming up the tissue right next to the phone antenna after a long call, similar to holding a warm mug. Decades of extensive global research and long-term population studies by health organizations have found no consistent link between normal smartphone use and brain cancer. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.